North Cat, baby, I'm a boss. Carolina barbecue sauce with the slaw. I'm the safe, the cellar, and the vault. I'm the best, the effect, and the cause, I'm the law. It's the North Cat, baby, I'm a boss. Carolina barbecue sauce with the slaw. I'm the safe, the cellar, and the vault. I'm the best, the effect, and the cause, I'm the law.
What's going on, guys? We're back for the next episode of Secret Sauce to Be the Boss. And you know, each episode is dedicated to a local business owner, entrepreneur, or self-starter in the Charlotte area. Today we've got Brad that was cool enough to let us come out and do this interview with us today. So tell us about your group and exactly what y'all do.
So Paragon Services Group is a multifamily oriented services company. And that being said, we do anything and everything that's regarding multifamily based. That could be interior, could be exterior, renovations, to painting the exterior of a building, to flipping interior kitchens, to painting a parking lot.
So do you focus just on single houses, residential? Do you do apartment complexes? What is your specialty?
Our niche is a very tight niched, basically management company to owner level multifamily owned communities. So what we do is we have a connection or relationship with one who owns 300 units, not necessarily an individual personal residence.
All right.
So when we talk to an ownership, we consult with them on their value adds, what are they trying to make more money on, and then we try and replicate it over a course of 300 units.
So those of you that have been watching the show, you know that not only do we highlight these awesome people and businesses in the Charlotte area, but we also give advice to others out there that would like to do the same thing, to take that step but have yet to do it for whatever reason. So we like to give knowledge, so I ask questions that would help them out in their process of taking that next step. So you started out, you and your business partners, just the two of y'all in 2 trucks, right?
Absolutely.
And how did you go from the process of just being 2 guys with an idea to turn it into a big successful business like this?
We felt that there was a basically void in the industry of multifamily where you could offer good services, a fast time frame release of a unit that certain companies on bigger or smaller levels weren't focused on just flipping basic units. They would complicate the scenario. We've developed plans, scenarios, strategies that allow us to proper plan to execute the delivery a lot quicker. And in doing so, we've basically grown from purchasing and accounting and more project senior management level to actually manage subcontractors to help us succeed in flipping units.
All right, so 2 guys, an idea, and 2 trucks. And how long ago did this happen?
We were hustling in 2 vehicles probably about 6 years ago, and in doing so probably had maybe a half a dozen to a dozen subs that we were running around just chasing and using the best tool in our tool belt, which was my cell phone. And consistently having them answer the phone, pick up the phone, and be where I needed to be them. And it was almost like bouncing ping pong balls or puppet mastery, where you're taking what your core was and just using them in different places. And that was about 6, and then about 5 years ago, 5-6 years ago, we really started investing internally to grow that same concept with another manager.
So a lot of what's going on out there these days is people want to take the easiest route, the fastest route. They don't want to actually put in the work. But from our conversations in the past and from what I'm hearing today, you was doing this type of work on your own, but for other people for a while.
Correct.
And you had told me probably in a conversation between us that you saw a void and you knew that you could do this and that you could do it better. So you made that decision to take that leap on your own and to go and do this on your own.
Absolutely.
Tell them what it was like to make that decision that I can do this, I believe in myself, and I'm going to take this next step.
That was very heart-rattling, if you would say. Basically, And I'm going to back it up and say what I consider success is. So success doesn't have to necessarily be monetary value or where you stand in an arena of people. So we saw that void, and then in doing so, we had someone, in my opinion, that helped, cater to us. They gave us an opportunity.
All right.
So when success came, we had someone that was at this level, and instead of running forward, turned back and tried to pull us with her. So that mindset was, we were given an opportunity by someone who had, in my opinion, success. So that opportunity became because someone offered us a chance.
And you seized that moment. You didn't hesitate.
We didn't hesitate. And then, there was some hesitation. If you can pull it off, can we get through it? But it was really, that success is not just, growing. It's ability to turn back around and pull those people with you.
You never know when opportunity is going to present itself. But one thing about opportunity, you have to be prepared for it. Preparation will make you ready, so when that opportunity presents itself, you can seize it. One of the biggest problems that I find with people that want to do their own thing, go their own way, separate from corporate America, develop their own companies, their own products, is fear. Fear of failure. But fear is not real. Fear is something we make up.
We make it.
You're fearing a situation that has never even happened. You're creating that fear. So how do you get past that fear? You get past that fear by believing in yourself and erasing those negative thoughts of what happens if I do this and it doesn't work, and replacing them with, I'm going to do this and I'm going to make it work and I'm going to be successful. So when you said that there was a little bit of hesitation, was there a little bit of internal struggle of can I or can't I?
There was definitely, the balancing act, seesaw of can we pull it together. Definitely financial reasons. You're moving lots of money. But the biggest thing, was the fear that, can we do it with just two people and a cell phone, or two cell phones and two trucks? And then you think about, well, there's the yellow books, there's Craigslist, and then how do you get the pieces of the puzzle put together? And then we went back to the same saying, both him and I use it regularly, is that you get the fish in the boat, then you figure out what to do with it. So we've had the opportunity with someone throwing the fish already in there, then it was just planning stages. So we just had to figure out how to do it, and then, it could be hours, it was the weekends, it was at night, it was, us driving materials just to get stuff, that was ordering at night, it was working on the bills. All aspects of figuring it out that you didn't know until you were actually knee deep in it, basically.
So basically, you put your nose down, put the hard work in, and now the reward is starting to show for all the hard work you put in.
Absolutely, and the reward, in my opinion, is creating this family, this atmosphere, getting all these people to buy in. That I really want to say that we're the best in the multifamily arena, to flip an apartment as fast as possible, deliver it on time, with the quality that they expect, and then you follow them where they say, can you go to Atlanta or Florida or wherever the region may be, and it's really because I think we're the best.
So you have not only succeeded very successfully here in the Charlotte area, but you've also expanded to other areas of the state and out of the state.
Absolutely. We're from... At one time, our hottest market was Atlanta, and then those projects were 2 to 3 years, and then those kind of dwindle away, and now Atlanta's coming back to the table again with another, option for a 2-year, 3 project. But really, right now, the Raleigh-Durham, a subsidiary office that we have there, is really the hottest market. Home base is Charlotte, but we go and follow wherever they tell us to go, and that's a core relationship with the customer that says, can you handle this certain market? May not be Charlotte, it may not be in this state, and then you say, well, opportunity is there, let's go look, and then you get on the ground, and in some situations relocate existing teammates, or you go out there and then try and cycle up your team while you're out there.
Gotcha. What advice would you have to others out there watching that are in this industry, in this market, that are individual people or a team of two like you were, that are thinking about taking that next step and going on their own and doing this? What advice would you give them?
Some of the best advice is don't doubt yourself, first and foremost, and then in doing whatever, if it is construction based, make sure that you've put your time with the tool belt on before you want a cell phone and management. So the respect that I got is that when I talked to some of my teammates, and a short story is some of the guys that were some of our first hires, I always believed I could do it better than them because I've done it personally. And one day it was like a Saturday, and I was getting ready to hang a mirror. And one of my guys came over to me and said, "Put that down." And I said, "Well, I'm going to put the mirror up to get done with it." And he said, "That's not your job." He said, "Your job is that," he thinks that I've elevated, and said, "You need to get more work. My job's to put the mirror on the wall." And that's when I realized, tool belt down, cell phone up, and let's go to the next level, because he said, "This is my job. Your job's to keep moving on to the next project." So, but by doing that, he also respected me because he said he knew I could do it. But then I earned the respect of my team by them knowing that I could do it, that it wasn't my place anymore.
You know, that is a key thing that you just touched on. That is a problem with a lot of businesses and a lot of people in the higher ups. They develop this attitude that they're just going to tell you what to do. And sometimes the people below, they don't respect that if they don't think that you're not willing to put in any kind of work and get your hands dirty. So the fact that your team knows that you'll get your hands dirty and put in work probably makes them respect you a lot more and more willing to work for you. So I appreciate that story and you telling us that. So on a more serious note, I have another question to ask you. And what would you say to people out there that say to you that the reason that the opportunities came your way and was easier for you would be because of white privilege?
I would say that that's not relationship oriented to privilege by color at all. We have relationships with all sorts of clients, and in doing so, it's merely, I think, when someone looks at you and knows, one, are you going to get your hands dirty to work for them? Because typically what we're doing is value add, and they're looking to see what we can execute. A lot of times that, you know, when you say what you just spoke of, that some of our clients we don't even see personally, so they don't even really know. But it's a matter of what you can produce on the back end for them to, in their opinion, make them more money.
So a theory out there is that white people are able to run businesses and do stuff like this a little bit easier, and that they're the ones at the top making the money, and especially in the construction market, and the Hispanics are the one that do the majority of the legwork these days. But you're saying that a lot of the people that hire you and a lot of the people that you do business for, you don't even actually meet in person sometimes. So that theory of the white privilege kind of goes out the window because they don't even know if you're a white man or not.
Correct. Because it's a lot of, usually up front you'll meet, you know, we're all working for an owner, so to speak, but we may be bottlenecked with the management. But the management we may be familiar with, but the owner has no, they could be from out of state, out of country, who actually owns the property. You may have a conference call, you may have several email correspondences back and forth, but that's really, there's no judgment because they don't.
So they're going by your company's work and your history of work
or portfolio that we've produced for them, along with numbers and proposals. Maybe they just, you know, a lot of times that they'll say, hey, just do a separate unit and show me what you can do, and there's still, it's just being relayed to the owner, and we may at times not even know who they are.
So another part to that question, I'm going to ask you what your opinion is, and then I'm going to kind of say what I think my opinion is. There's this opinion out there that Hispanic workers are coming along and they're taking all the American workers' jobs in this type of industry, construction work and stuff like that, because they'll do it for cheaper prices, cheaper labor. What's your opinion on that? What do you think about that?
We never use the word cheap. Our word is cost effective. We have employees that are of other ethnicities, including some project managers that are Hispanic. The ability for them to grow is at their knees. If they want to bend and go down and sit down, or you want to bend and get ready to jump. In doing so, in previous history, one of the best things that I ever learned from a Hispanic who owns a company in Texas, he said the best thing you can do is to learn to be diverse in everything you do. He said, I wouldn't be where I was today without using all the cultures. But what he said was, some of his best people are the ones who were in the, maybe doing it cheaper at one time, but then learn to grow to get someone else to work with them as they're doing it. So their ability to grow is at their knees.
So one thing that I have personally noticed as a business owner of several different businesses myself, and it deals with a lot of different business owners and a lot of people, the American people have become entitled and lazy and feel like people owe them something, and they want something and they want to be paid without even putting the work in. I personally think that where the mishap is when they see these Hispanic people come in and get these jobs and doing all this construction work, the initial mindset is they're doing this and they're getting all this work because they're doing it for cheaper. No, they're getting this work because they actually show up for work and they work their butts off and they do a good job at it. They don't come acting like they're entitled and they should be paid for the bare minimum work. That's a big misconception, and that's a big problem that we have going on in America. And just because you're from here, just because the color of your skin, your religion, your race, whatever, doesn't give you a privilege. So you don't get to do the bare minimum work and expect the maximum check just because you might have showed up for work. That's not reality. People need to focus on what's real and what's a myth, and separate the two, because there's a lot of misconceptions out there based on ideas like this without actually pulling the curtain back and looking.
I definitely agree. And then some of our subs for our business are, in my opinion, low totem pole, and then they've grown to have 3, 4, 5, 6 employees underneath them. And they're some of our biggest hitters when it comes check day. And they're learning the system that just because they want to get their hands dirty, same thing as me, I'm trying to, again, turn back and pull the success with you. They're doing it. They'll still want to get their hands dirty, but they're gaining employees, they're feeding more families, and they're pulling them with them.
Without getting too deep into religion, because I'm not going to get into all that, but there's a church I go to, and I did listen to a sermon the other day, and when the pastor was up there speaking about something, he said that he was talking to someone, and someone's response to him was, oh, that's a great idea. I could have thought of that myself. But thinking about something and actually putting in the work to make it happen is two different things. We all have great ideas. We all have visions. We all have thoughts that go through our head, but that's all they are until you put the work in. Anything you want great in this world, any success you want to have, you have to be willing to work. You have to be willing to put in the time and the effort. And if you're not, then you will never succeed.
Absolutely.
What do you say we take a look around your office a little bit and go out back to your warehouse and look at some of the stuff we have back there?
Sounds like a great idea.
All right, let's take a look around this warehouse and see what all we got back here. This is a pretty massive warehouse you have here.
We share it with a couple other companies.
All right. I'd say it's pretty much the Charlotte way now. Get a huge facility like this and share it with a couple distributors and companies. So this is where a lot of the original work starts.
Absolutely. Depending on the project per se, we'll either bring it internally into the house or we'll deliver it to the property that we're doing it. But in some cases, we'll bring materials here to build them here, transport it on a box truck to the actual property. We have countertops, for example, that were delivered here, and then we'll cycle them out where that's needed.
And what is the production like in here, usually on a daily basis?
Typically, it's very quiet, kind of as you see now. We start 7:30 in the morning, so between 7:30 and 8:30, it's all bells and whistles going on.
Everybody's getting their stuff ready to take out?
Yep, so we'll be gathering materials, loading it in the vehicles, because usually in our industry, properties don't really open until about 9 o'clock, so it allows us to prepare before we go out.
So just looking at a couple of the items you have over here. So what would you say is the total amount of apartments that you're able to fix up and get 100% on point and ready in a week's time?
That would be geographic based. So Charlotte, we could do potential between 7 to 15 a week, and then that we replicate in different geographic regions.
Gotcha.
So, and that's really actually dependent on the customer. Some will say you got 3 to 4 a month, and some will say 3 to 4 a week.
So basically it's job by job.
Correct.
So you have to take the ones that are shorter and put more of a priority on those.
And it's always a balance. So if we have one that's really slow velocity, 2 a month, and then we'll try and take that in that market and see if we can pull in another one and combine them so we can keep our teams busy.
Gotcha. All right. So now you've seen the warehouse, you've seen the inside, so you see how this kind of comes together. They come and they get their stuff together, they take out in the mornings, they hit those apartments, and they're getting them fixed all day, every day. And so you said you have also another main office in Raleigh, right?
Yep.
Who actually is up there that runs that show most of the time?
There's about 6 core teammates up there. We have some traveling ones back and forth from here. But it's Dan, who's been with us for an extremely long time. He utilizes a similar instance here. If we need deliveries, it's just a hub, and it's a place to put his books down.
Gotcha. And you also have a lot of work in Wilmington too.
Yes, we do have, that was due to storm damages, unfortunately, but there is extreme amount of water, flooding, roofing, siding repairs. In that instance, what we're doing is we'll travel down once or twice a day. I'll do it myself. I'll send someone else to just peek in, and depending on what we can see and market and ask for will be determinant if we're going to build an office there.
So you actually went to college for something that is completely unrelated to this. What did you go to college for, man?
Natural resources.
And website designs too, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. But instead you design apartments being fixed up now.
What's funny is I say I went to school to save a tree, and now all I do is cut down the tree. So.
That's a good one. So you started working in this field. What made you gravitate towards this field? Was this something you were passionate about, something that was a big hobby of yours, something you was just fascinated with? What was it that drove you to this field?
Dad built our house, and then I think I was 16 in the summers, and then he put me on with somebody that he knew, and I started framing houses. So every summer, for my summer job was to go work with a framing crew, and then even when I went on to college and came home, I started elevating that to interior trim, to building cabinets, to a little bit of everything. And it's been pretty much my passions, whether it's driving equipment or driving a nail. I just enjoy it, and I love seeing it actually happen with your own 2 hands.
What's funny is how you said your passion, because one common theme through everyone that we've talked to, through all of these episodes, they've said, find your passion. If you find your passion, your will to succeed will be unprecedented because it's your passion. It's no longer work when it's something you love to do.
Absolutely.
So what would you say to those out there that are thinking about having some work done? Why should they hire you instead of someone else?
Well, there's always that, usual reliable, dependable contractor we do free quotes and all that. A lot of times we just use referrals, and when doing so, don't just offer, in my opinion, the baloney. Give them examples of your work, give them timetables, give them pricing schemes, give them the details up front. Just don't go out there with a label stuck to your vehicle saying that you can do it cheaper than anyone else. So
let them see your work and let your work speak for itself.
And always do a consultation. For example, last Thursday night, I went to a client's house and never even talked about money, just talked about scope. And then develop that relationship, because it's going to work both ways. There's a lot of times that I may want the work, but I know it's not going to work out. So then I don't pursue, I'll say that's not a good fit, and then we got to walk away. But, you know, don't go straight into, a lot of people just want to go straight into numbers, and it's like, well, what have you done in the history? And then go through timetables, go through the money last. Let them like you just as much as you like your customer.
Where do you see your company 5 years from now?
In 5 years, expectation and goals would be, I would want to maybe not quite double in force, maybe another 20 people, more vehicles, more managerial, and an ability. I would like to, there's opportunities that we don't even conquer and chase because we're not built internally yet for that. So it would take time and effort and ability to, like, painting an exterior building. We can do it, but it's a lot of phone calls and it's a lot of effort because it's not something we do day to day.
Gotcha.
I would say to try and build something that is, you know, lacking in our department, which would be exterior repairs. So building up the exteriors for anything
match the interior.
To match the interior.
Gotcha. So tell our audience how they can contact you. Tell them your address, your phone number, your social media, however they can look up your work and see what all you have to offer.
Our website's paragonservicesgroup.com. As far as our address, we're over off of Wilkinson on Donald Ross Road, 2000. You can contact me at 336-442-4023 at any time. Or there's information on our webpage to send contact project, or just wanting to contact us via the email.
Well, it's been another great episode of Secret Sauce to Be the Boss. I want to thank Mr. Brad Lassiter for having us out today, and Paragon Service Group. We really appreciate the opportunity to come out here and interview you and get all this great knowledge. Until next time, guys, we're out.
It's the North Cat, baby, I'm a boss. Carolina barbecue sauce with the